G'day, welcome back. Now, I want to talk about my Parkinson's. It's something that's pretty hard to ignore. Actually, I've tried to shake it, but it wouldn't go. No, honestly, no. Recently, my symptoms have been getting worse. And what are my symptoms? Well, you see my trembling hands quite often on video, especially reviews with RC model reviews. And notice last month there wasn't a lot of review activity on RC model reviews because it was actually kind of difficult for me. I've got to say, all the bench shots, when you're doing it, you notice it, but when I look at the video, man, sobering to see how much my hands are trembling. It's looking at it from, third person. It's like, whoa. So it's been kind of difficult to deal with. My wife has noticed the changes and she dragged me along to the doctor. And a lot of the symptoms you don't actually see. You see my hands trembling, but for example, I used to run everywhere. I'd sprint from place to place, keep me fit, keep me young, and keep my belly and, trim, taut and terrific. I can't do that anymore. I can't. My maximum speed has been significantly reduced by this disease. It's like trying to run in a swimming pool. It's like, everything's so slow. That has annoyed me. Other things are balance. I've fallen over a few times. I fell 3 meters from the car park at the airfield to the ground below. It was a bit uncomfortable. So sometimes you lose your balance. Then there's a biggest problem I have is swallowing. When you swallow, you start to swallow consciously and then your body takes over and it just, continues. I have found that my swallow stops. Sometimes I get halfway through swallowing something or just swallowing and everything stops for maybe just a second, maybe for 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And during that time, you sort of just sit there thinking, what's going on? And if you're swallowing food, when it recommences, the food can go into your stomach or it can go into your lungs, and it's a very unpleasant experience. Everyone's probably, swallowed something, went down the wrong way. Well, that's what you get. And that's one of the ways in which one of the few ways in which Parkinson's can kill you is through pneumonia. If you aspirate food into your lungs, then it can get infected and you die of pneumonia. I'm not looking forward to that, but that's one of the possibilities. Now, as I say, wife dragged me along to the doctor. What's going on here? And he did some tests, and as they do. There's no blood tests or anything, but it's basically, they check your dexterity and your tremors and your balance and all that sort of stuff, and how fast you move, and your handwriting, just your handwriting too. My handwriting's changed quite markedly. It's getting smaller and it's slower. So that's not the only thing, is it? I wonder if it can't be related to that. No. Otherwise, my wife would have complained. But you get the situation. So he tested me out and he said, yeah, your disease has progressed. And it's reached a really, really worrying, annoying point where I was trying to put this off for a long time. Because the doctor has now put me on full-time medication. And as the degrees progresses and, like this, that turning point where I was put onto full-time medication, that's something I've been fearing, dreading for ages, because it marks the beginning of what I consider to be the real steep decline. Reason for that is that although you have tremors with Parkinson's, this, sort of the dwarf with the jackhammer that you see people doing when they've got Parkinson's, that's not actually down to the disease as much as the treatment. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? As I say, the other symptoms are more noticeable for me than the tremors because I live with them every day. But the medication they give you causes a thing called dyskinesis, which is this sort of, constant wobbly, moving around, can't stay still thing. So once I start the full-time medication, I can expect that to start occurring at some stage. You look at me now, if I want to, I can sit dead still. It's not a problem. My hands may be shaking slightly. I'm not on the medication yet. My hands may be shaking slightly, but I can keep my body dead still. That's not, this sort of rolling movement isn't really a key symptom of Parkinson's. It's a symptom of the treatment. So once I start taking these pills, I can expect to start getting all wibbly-wobbly like this. And that's not something I look forward to at the moment. A lot of people don't know I've got Parkinson's if they just see me in the street, because although my gait has changed, I take smaller steps and I don't move as quickly, and sometimes I just fall down. Apart from that, it's not that visible. But now, once I start taking the medication, I can expect some rather obvious changes to take place. So I was looking at this and I thought, And when you have to come to grips with this, I could see some people getting very depressed. Most people, if you're in a tunnel, there's a light at the end. If you've got Parkinson's, well, I'm sorry, there's just a brick wall or a rock wall at the end. There is no light. It's only going to get worse. And I can see why some people would spiral into a deep depression and wallow in self-pity and whatever they wanted to do. Now, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I don't have time for all that sort of crap, especially now that having spoken to the doctor, I said, well, given the progression, what sort of time frames are we talking here before I'm a dribbling mess on the floor? And he said, well, 7 years if you're lucky. So that's quite a long time frame. Well, it's not really. I mean, most people these days live to nearly 80 and I'm only 65. So it does mean quite a short time frame. And the bottom line is it's a progressive thing. So it's going to get worse and worse. And if I want to do stuff, and I want to do stuff while I'm able to do it and enjoy it, I've got a year or two. Got a year or two to really get out there and do the stuff, flying models, enjoying life, being mobile without really suffering too much from the side effects of the medication and so forth. So, yeah, a year to 2 years. So I've got to cram 15 years into 1 or 2 years. That's a pretty big squeeze. And so I decided, sat down with the wife, we had a bit of a chat. What are we going to do? Well, we need to make sure that we get the most out of these 1 or 2 years. So we're going to do something that I had planned to do before the drone rules changed here in New Zealand. We're going to do a tour of New Zealand in a camper van or something like that, hire a van and travel around the country looking at all the sites. And I'm going to take my models with me, take my multi-rotors, take my fixed wing. I'm going to go and get some aerial footage of places that probably many people would never see unless they came to New Zealand themselves. I'm going to do an aerial vlog of the country, and not just the touristy spots where everyone goes. You go and look for Queenstown and Southern Lakes on YouTube with drone footage. There is mountains of the stuff, and it's high 4K stuff. People with their Mavics and their whatever has done wonderful footage. I'm not going to try and reproduce that. No point in reinventing the wheel. Don't have time. Time's a priority. So I'm just going to do the really unusual things that you wouldn't have seen, and I'm going to lose a few models in the process because some of the stuff requires flying, in difficult situations that basically produce a high risk that the model will not return. So yeah, I'm going to stock up the camper van with models, and when we run out of models, we'll be finished. But hopefully I'll have a good catalogue of video, which I'll be able to share with you at that stage. Now, the other thing I had to do, of course, is reevaluate my priorities. When you've got only a certain amount of time left to enjoy life, I'm not going to die in the next 1 or 2 years. Well, I could get hit by a bus. It's always that. But I mean, if I want to squeeze all this living into 1 or 2 years, I have to basically say, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that. So there are some things I've decided not to do. And one of them is, I've been engaged in this decade-long battle with the local council, who you've all seen them. Seriously, these people, where do they come from? And what are we doing to fix that? But for example, a lot of people have said to me, what's happening with the mayor and the council? Flying drones in the park. How are you getting on there? And my answer to that is, look, I'm flying drones in the park. Now, I don't have permission. No, of course I don't have permission. And interestingly enough, I presented my arguments, my facts, my evidence, my reasoned position to the council, and they couldn't counter that. They had no counter argument, no counter evidence, because everything I said was true and everything I said was obviously correct. So the mayor's only response was to tell lies about me. A poor woman. I feel so sorry for her. She's actually looking 10 years older than she was, 4 or 5 months ago. All the stuff she's doing, I think she's a bit out of her depth. I really don't think she knows what she's doing. And it's her first term as mayor, and I don't think she fully appreciated just what was involved. And so there's been a huge amount of stress on her, a huge amount of strain on her. And I think that has aged her immensely, and she's really just not coping well. I don't want to be the person that piles on top of that. Now, she came out, she defamed me, made a public statement, defamed me. I could have gone out and sued her for defamation and taken her to court. But really, seriously, with 1 or 2 years left, why would I waste my time, effort, and money doing that? I'm not going to do that. She's got a problem. I'm not going to add to her problems. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And this is the future for me. This is my future. I'm going to do what I want to do. Now, in saying that, I'm not going to be reckless and go out there and deliberately thumb my nose at authority and do dangerous things. No, that's not the way I work. I've been flying models for nearly 60 years, and I've never injured anybody. I've never damaged any third-party property. So why would I change now? No, I'm going to make the most of the next year or two, and I'm going to do it safely and responsibly. Does that mean I'm going to follow the rules and regulations all the time? No, obviously it doesn't, because as I've presented before in some of my rants, the rules and regulations are deeply flawed. They're made by people sitting behind a large desk on the 16th floor of a tall high-rise building somewhere in the capital city of this country. Many of these people have never even flown a model aircraft themselves. They've done a lot of book learning, but they don't know the realities. I've got 60 years of experience, 60 years proven safety record. So I'm going to use my common sense. I'm going to use my pragmatic perspectives to do stuff which may not be strictly legal, but it's not unsafe. And if anyone wants to prosecute me, put me in jail, whatever for that, well then I think that says more about them than it does about me. And that's the council, that's CAA, that's anybody else that wants to say, this guy, he's a menace because he hasn't hurt anyone, he's not endangering anyone, but he's breaking the rules. Well, that's their problem. I'm not going there. I had enough of negativity. I'm just doing a positive for me, for my wife, because unfortunately, this is the big factor. When I have to deal with this, but she has to deal with it too. And it's a big strain, it's a big load on her because she's had her own problems, as you know, she had an accident, so she's not as fully equipped to deal with this as someone else might be. So I've got this next 1 or 2 years, I've got to do something very important. I've got to provide for my wife's future. That means I've got to create enough residual earnings that when I'm no longer able to do what I'm doing now, there's still money coming in. And that's from YouTube videos, of course, that's what I do. So I have to make sure I get enough videos out there to stock up and to have this residual, so that when I'm no longer able to make these videos, there is still revenue coming in from the ones that are there. And the more videos you've got, the more revenues you get. So one of the things I will not be stopping is making videos. In fact, I will be ramping it up because all the fun things that I'm going to do to make me happy, I'll be videoing and I'll be sharing with you. And I'll be preaching the safety. I'm singing from the safety hymn book, not the rule book, but the safety hymn book, so that you know that I'll explain when I'm doing stuff that might be against the regulations. I'll explain why it's still safe. I'll explain what I've done to mitigate the risks, so that hopefully people, because no one follows all the rules. If everyone followed the rules, we wouldn't need police, wouldn't need traffic cops. But people do break the rules. And if you're going to do it, you need to be able to do it safely, right? That's my goal, is to show you how to do stuff safely. So we'll have the tour of New Zealand. I'll be doing other stuff. I mean, Hobby King sent me a plane to review. Look, Tomahawk. Woo, here we go. Can you see that? Writing on there, Tomahawk, yeah. So today I'm going out. I'm going to throw a receiver in it, throw a battery in it. The weather is raining. Supposed to. It's nearly raining. It was fine this morning. It's going to be raining. I'm going to fly it anyway. Oh, who gives a damn? I'd rather die of a cold than end up like a bloody midget with a jackhammer rolling around on the floor in 10 years' time. So I'm going to go and have some fun with this. Now, will I be breaking the regulations? I'm not going to confess to that, but I don't have an observer. But I will be flying this totally safely in a way that could never possibly harm any person or any property. So whether I'm following the rules or not is irrelevant, because what are the rules for? The rules are there to protect person and property. If I'm making sure person and property is safe, does it matter if I'm not 100% compliant with the rules? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. So that's what I'm going to do today. And then there's tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be doing something else, the same. Got the balloon series to do, but windy today for the balloon series, but the balloon series will be finished off this week. And I want to leave a legacy for the model flying community. I mean, there's people out there have done so much for me. I mean, one thing that gives me this sort of optimistic outlook. As I say, I could be mired in a pit of depression and self-pity, but I'm not. Someone else can do that. I don't care about that. What makes me happy is that I've got people out there like yourselves who watch these videos and appreciate them for their humour, for their information, for whatever. And that makes me happy. My goal is to educate and inform and to entertain. So more RC model reviews, and a focus on the educational side of things. Now, I won't be here in 3 years in 3 years, probably won't be able to do any more reviews. So my strategy is going to be to focus on giving you the ability to understand the technologies we're dealing with and the products we're dealing with, so you can draw your own reasonable, logical conclusions about particular products. If you know how stuff works, if you know what's important and what's not important, you can draw your own conclusions. Now, there are 1,000,001 review channels on YouTube busily sucking stuff out of Banggood and posting reviews with links to affiliate things. Hey, that's fine. That's as I've said before, that's not where I'm going. I'm going to go more into the, I'll review products like this because it's important. And if manufacturers send me products, I will certainly review them. But I'm going to focus as much and more than I have done on the whole educational thing. You'll learn about electronics, you'll learn about aerodynamics, you'll learn about mechanical engineering, the things that go into every one of these products that we buy off the shelf. That's my goal. So I've got to make as many of these videos as I can. Now, also focus on the positive. Weather, I don't care. You used to catch me bitching about the weather all the time. Oh, it's raining, oh, it's windy. I don't care. I mean, hey, weather's great. I love weather. You can't have too much weather. So, as I say, I'm going to fly this in the rain and the wind. If it breaks, it breaks. But I mean, I'm testing it, aren't I? So I've got to find out how durable it is. It says Durafly on the box. So that's me. I'm going to be all positive and uppity. Now, you might think, well, why am I so uppity? Well, it's kind of like a big black cloud's been lifted off my head. I've been dreading this moment when I had to go onto full-time medication, dreading it because I knew that that was the beginning of the side effects and that sort of stuff. And so it's like when you're a kid and you went to the dentist, you were just for days in advance. Then the moment you walk out the door, woohoo, you're free, you're liberated, you've overcome that, you're moving on. It's where I am. I have reached the point. I have dealt with it. I've felt sad and grieved for the fact that I know I'm losing many years of what could have been productive activities in my life. But never let the future damage the present. The only real surety we have is the present. I mean, the past, been and done, can't change that. The future, it may never come. I could walk out of here today, get hit by a bus. As you know, we don't have buses here. I could get hit by a car and it would all be over. So why am I going to worry? Why am I going to dwell on the horrible future that might await me when it might not come? It might not. So, nothing I can do now in terms of dwelling or pondering or feeling sorry is going to change what happens in 3 to 7 years' time. So why would I waste the energy on that? I'm not going to. I've always been the kind of guy, fortunately, who can set that stuff, get it out of my mind. I'm focused on today. Carpe diem, that's me, focused on today, and I'm just going to move forward and do the best I can for myself, for my wife, and for you guys out there who are my support crew. You really are my support crew. I honestly don't think that I could have got through this just as easily and as positively as I have if I didn't know that there were thousands of people out there who appreciated what I was doing. And of course, my Patreon supporters, I still can't get over the fact that people send me money for doing stuff that I enjoy doing. Just as well they do, because otherwise I couldn't afford to do it. But that is the most positive thing in my world, of the people who watch my videos. Fantastic. I really, really appreciate you doing that. And of course, when I'm a gibbering mess on the floor, I'll appreciate it even more because it'll be helping support the wife. So yeah, and I must admit, I did look at other options. I mean, I thought, if you've got Parkinson's, what can you do? I thought, hey, I could be a cocktail waiter. I could mix the drinks, shaken, not stirred. But nah. And I thought also, there's other downsides too. I mean, I have to sit down when I have a pee now. If I don't, it's a big cleanup job, you know. And I thought, well, maybe I can move to another country. I'll go to Saudi Arabia, where sheikhs are respected. No, that's not going to work either. But one thing's for sure, people will not be asking me to pass the beer anymore. Although they will ask me to pass the salad because I can toss it while I'm doing it. There are many upsides to having this disease, honestly. I'm sure there are. I will encounter those as I go along. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to do another channel called What's Shaken, where I'll try and help other people with this particular affliction to get over the hurdles and to realise that, you know, life's what you make it. Life is what you make it. And live for today, because tomorrow may never come. And don't dwell on the future. Don't let the future sink your present. That's me. So, positive outlook. Uppity, uppity. You might think, oh, that's the dopamine that's kicking in and he's getting a buzz out of this medication. No, it's not, because I haven't started it yet. I have the bottle sitting in the cupboard. And again, it's that, because the moment I take that first pill, that is the thing. But I'm accepting it now. I'm waiting for it. So I'm going to make sure that the time is right, and I will start the regime of medication, and we just take it day by day, see what happens. And when you find me doing this, you know, I don't know. That once I get to that stage, game over. Perhaps we'll look at the options, but hopefully I will have done a lot for you guys and my wife and myself. In the meantime, there you go. Now, I'd like some comments, I'd like some feedback. What do you guys think? You probably will not hear much more from me on this channel about my Parkinson's, because as I say, nothing I can do is going to change anything. I've vented myself. I've had my cathartic moment with the people that support me. I've filled you in, I hope, on some of the details, where I stand, my position, my outlook from here. So there's no point, it's no point in bringing it up again. If you see my hands shaking, you'll know why. I'm not going to tell you, you already know. And if there's other issues, then, you know, I will basically work around them. Work around them. That's what you have to do. Mitigate the problems. That's where I stand. So there you go. And stay tuned, because honestly, got to get a lot of videos out, but I got to get good videos out. I can't just rush crap out. I'm going to make sure that every video is good, and you're going to come on a journey with me, a journey into having fun, a journey into being safe without necessarily being totally compliant with the rules. No, I won't be speeding. And I hope you'll enjoy it as well. And I'd like some guidance. Where should I be heading? You know, you guys give me a bit of direction here. I have my own ideas, but, you know, I have to admit, my ideas aren't always good ones. So I want some help from you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't like it. If you don't care, why should I care? There we go. There'll be a video coming up shortly. I've got another ranty video to do. I'll dabble a little bit into this as well, as to why I think that the rules won't be a problem. I don't think the rules are going to be a problem with my tour around New Zealand or my going out and enjoying myself safely. There you go. That's enough. I've rambled on for far too long. Bye for now.